Alright guys, welcome back to another video by Josh Movies, and today I will be talking about the newest Star Wars movie, which by the way, there hasn't been one since 2019, 7 years ago by the way. Anyways, let's start this review. Overall, I thought this movie was very enjoyable, not perfect, but I don't understand the hate towards this movie. Feels really unnecessary and a bit too harsh. There's clearly something going on here, but from now on I am not really going to trust those types of people because they are clearly gaslighting themselves into hating this just to get views, and that is really sad for me to say honestly. I am someone who actually likes to be honest every now and again, so I am not surprised that I heavily enjoyed this movie. I like literally every Star Wars movie. Hate me all you want, but that is my opinion, and this movie is no exception from that opinion. I really liked this movie, and it flowed like a Mandalorian episode on the big screen. Pedro Pascal did a pretty decent job as the Mandalorian, which was expected, so I'm not surprised by that. Grogu was also here, and there's a lot of hype moments. Okay, the glaze is kind of done now. I am now going to be honest about how I feel about this movie. Overall, this movie was decent. Not perfect, but a good stepping point for what Star Wars should be. Star Wars needs to be experienced on the big screen by anyone, regardless of whether the movie is good or bad. Star Wars has been pretty hit and miss recently. Andor has carried Star Wars for as long as I can remember, and nothing has really topped that in any way. There have been some Star Wars content I've really liked, Kenobi for example, but nothing has really come close to Andor. Anyway, my point still stands is that Star Wars has felt empty as of late. I think we needed a release like this to happen so we can get more theatrical releases, because Star Wars should and always be a cinematic experience firsthand, then a streaming release later. It's what Star Wars was intended in the first place, and it should have stayed that way. Look, I get Disney capitalizing on it for Disney Plus made sense, but they should have also been providing theatrical releases during this time as well, because not everyone can afford a Disney Plus subscription. The general public probably hasn't even seen the majority of these shows, which is a shame to say, because I want them to see these projects. Aside from the accolade though, because no one really wants to see them. Anyways, Star Wars needed a cinematic comeback, and that was probably the best way we could have gone it. This movie was a decent continuation of the Mandalorian series. It felt like 4 episodes of the show condensed into one, which seemed like a weird idea, but it ended up flowing together pretty nicely. The characters in this movie are pretty decent for the most part, and have a lot of plot armor though. This is where I'll get into some of the flaws this movie has. A lot of characters survive a lot of blows, which makes sense because, well, they're the main characters, but just wanted to point this out. Felt like the right thing to do. What I'm saying is that this movie does play it safe, but I really did not mind that. Sometimes we need some dumb fun, and this movie is proof of that. And with that, I'm going to have to give Mandalorian and Grogu a 7 out of 10. Please subscribe.